Last year, he was probably the Cubs' best player. Now he's in trade talks.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. We are your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Best and worst of the week later in the show. The Cubs signed reliever Hoby Milner. And we start with perhaps some surprising trade talks. Not perhaps, I think they are. As the Cubs exit the winter meetings this week, we continue to wonder what their plan is this offseason and how they can make that happen, how they can make their team better for 2026. But in zero, does that include trading Nico Hoerner. So it was odd that to read the Athletics report, Patrick Mooney, Sahadev Sharma initially, but it really does seem like mostly talk. But it does leave the question out there if they could trade one of these more core veterans, especially because these guys make good money. Quote, Nico Hoerner's name has popped up in trade conversations, but those mentions do not mean the Cubs are looking to deal their Gold Glove second baseman, close quote. Later, they added that it's unlikely. Sam, Hoerner hit .297. He finished in the top 20 in all of baseball and WAR. Hit over 400 in the postseason. If he was traded, I really would wake up the next day and I would think I experienced a bad dream.
So
it would be awful.
Before we get into that, what I've learned about this business is that when a name, there's trade talks all the time with guys and the names don't come up. So when the name comes up,
they don't leak to the public, right?
There's a reason for it. And we don't know what the reason is. Why would the Cubs want that public? I don't know. Maybe Nico Hoerner's agent wants that public for some reason. Maybe it's leverage for an extension, because I personally believe he's the guy they want to extend. That's just my take. We got Hap, we got JMO, we got Seiya, we got Nico, we got all these guys in walk years, and I just think he's the most extendable because he provides for them exactly what you just said, a skill that they don't have, which is putting the bat to the baseball and batting average. So maybe there's a leverage thing here, or maybe it's real. Cause like last year, I don't know, maybe it was right around this time, maybe a little later, Seiya popped up in a lot of trade rumors, exactly. Right? And I don't think that was an accident. Like when these names pop up, when stuff pops up, I've learned it's not an accident. But I've also learned I don't know where it's coming from. For example, a couple days ago, randomly in the morning, Buster Only just tweeted about Matt Shaw's defense and that the Cubs like him. It's like
strange. Yeah.
Okay, so where did that come from? So
why? Like you said,
it's worth talking about in the sense that it actually became public information. I don't see it happening. I'm not paying too much attention to it beyond what I just said and what the mechanics of it would look like or anything like that, because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, last year at this time, it did make sense. He was coming off of a bad season. The eyes were to the unknown of Matt Shaw, and we didn't know that he could play third base at the level he did. So it was like, hey, our best prospect's a second baseman. Hoerner's coming off kind of a mediocre year. But now it just seems, didn't we both have Hoerner on our top 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
he's one of the best Cubs of the last quarter century.
Yeah, I don't think you trade him now. I think there's going to be some sort of extension talks. I think this is all leverage. That's just my guess. I have no idea.
He was the Cubs' best player by a lot.
Yeah.
And he got MVP votes. I guess what I would wonder is, in terms of a leverage play for an extension, would that be the Cubs holding a trade over Horner or Horner holding a trade over the Cubs?
Right. What's going on with my light here? Sorry. Say that again. I'm having a little technical difficulty. I apologize.
In terms of a leverage play for a contract extension,
Yes.
would that be Horner holding that over the Cubs or the Cubs holding that over Horner? I don't really.
I mean, I would guess the Cubs holding that over Horner, basically just being like, all right, if you're not going to sign an extension, we do have trade talks or something like that going on.
Oh man, that seems so shrewd.
I mean, I have no idea if I'm correct on this. Why would his name pop up, Matt? Who leaked that?
I don't know.
Why would anyone want that? It's like, I mean, obviously Horner isn't, this level of player, but like, what if there was a conversation, when the Lakers traded for Luka Doncic for the Dallas, like, you don't leak that out, right? Or else it just becomes a really weird thing. It just, if it happens, it happens. It's weird.
Well, I think there's five. I think there could be 5 guys the Cubs discuss with other teams about in relation to their deals. I mean, it should be 6, but Ian Happ is not open to going anywhere.
Which is, by the way, his right. He got that no trade clause.
Yeah.
That's not his fault they gave that to him.
So Horner, you already mentioned Seiya. I think Jamison Tyone could be one.
But he's got a partial no trade.
Yeah, Matthew Boyd, and then Carson Kelly. All the guys in their walk years, all who make some good money. For whatever they're trying to do, especially if it's a free agent pitcher they like and a free agent bat. I do wonder if one of these 5 guys could go to open up flexibility, not really positionally. It would be more of the finances, which,
well, if they got,
that would be a big story if one of these 5 guys.
If they have to trade Nico Hoerner to open up $11 million, it's a great contract. It's a great deal. Right? It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, if they're not.
All those guys that you mentioned are critical parts of what they're trying to do in 26. And
I know.
And here's the terrifying part. Here. I'll say it right now, December, whatever it is. Here's my biggest fear.
Right.
Matthew.
They have to add to that group, not subtract.
But here's my biggest fear. If they are middling at the trade deadline, they're going to be plenty of seller talk with them if they're not playing well. Because that whole group will be part of conversations if they're not playing well or if one of them hasn't got extended. I still firmly believe before opening day, one of those dudes is going to get a contract extension. I really believe that. Remember, Haps came in during the season in April against the Mariners. Jed basically leaked it on air. Remember that, on air?
And Hoerner's was only a few days before that, right? Or a few days after?
I don't remember Hoerner's.
It was within a short span of time.
Yeah, Hoerner's was just basically, hey, let's buy a year of free agency for whatever. I think there's going to be an announcement before opening day for one of these guys. And I still, even though he's, quote, in trade talks, unquote, I think it's going to be Nico Hoerner. I think he's going to be the guy.
There just seems to be so many rumblings. I don't know, what word choice do you prefer? I like rumblings.
Annoyances?
Okay. Yes. Nuisances, perhaps.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean, who is talking?
It's just all talk, man.
Who is talking?
It's not just the Cubs.
I think it was Sharma and Mooney on their pod. They were basically just like, the Cubs are kind of involved in everybody right now, and we don't know what they're trying to do. They're talking to everybody. They have interest in everybody, but who knows? I mean, they had interest. Did you see this report? They had interest in Devin Williams. They offered him money, and apparently, according to the source, I think I read it on Bleacher Nation, Devin Williams preferred to go here instead of the Mets. Now, I'm not saying the Cubs should have overpaid for him, but obviously they had interest in him.
Yeah, it's.
Did you see that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that right now.
They Zoomed with Bregman. They met with Alonso.
Right.
What are they meeting with Alonso for? Could that just be leverage? Hey, what did the Red Sox offer you?
Yeah, I think they want to know information from the Red Sox.
Don't you just think it's a little overcomplicated? Does it have to be like this? Does it? It should. I get it. There's no timeline and all these things, and there's no cap. But man, it just feels. I'll save it for my best and worst. How's that?
All right, more on that and best and worst, and maybe some proposals to improve the winter meetings or the offseason in general. Coming up next, the Cubs did make a signing on Thursday, agreeing to terms with Hoby Milner as the Cubs add to their bullpen. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back for the first time since 1994 to North America, with 48 teams for the first time ever. It's going to be massive, but let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands. It makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. The Seat View feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. And there's alert for teams and matches to make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time today. Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Cubs with no interruptions, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedoncubs.supercast.com or check the link in this episode description. The Cubs and Hoby Milner reached an agreement on a one-year, $3.75 million deal on Thursday. This was first reported by Bleacher Nation's Michael Cerami. 3.84 ERA, 58 strikeouts to 21 walks in 70 innings in 2025 with the Rangers. The previous 3 years before that with the Brewers, Milner didn't walk more than 15 hitters total in at least 64 innings. ERAs in those years, 4.73 in 24, 1.82 in 23, and 3.76 in 22, 23 and 22 being with Craig Counsell. Funky arm angle, funky delivery, Sam. Strikeout rate dipped in 25, but a lot of grounders, and lefties really struggle against him. OPS of just 526 in 25, lefties against Milner. It does seem like a solid bullpen signing.
Yeah, he's here to get out lefties, right? He's here to get out lefties. I have no problem with it. Would love to know the Pomerantz Thielbar situation. Why did they pivot there? You know, are those guys seeking more money off of their really good season? And the Cubs are kind of just like, we don't buy into it. I think Milner's fine. You know, lefty, left, right, left in the 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning, one of those three. When you find that spot, you know, just thinking off the top of my head, like a, you know, Terang, Churio, Yelich, boom, you bring in Milner. He hopefully does what he's supposed to do. He gets a lot of ground balls. I think lefties late in games have a lot more value right now than they have before. Do you know why I think that?
Is it because of the 3-batter rule?
Well, no, that would be less because they used to be able to just come in and just face one. You know what I mean? And then it's great. Okay. Stolen bases are more prominent now.
Holding runners. Okay.
Yeah, and it's hard to steal off lefties. That's just a fact, right? It's just harder to steal off lefties than it is righties. And I like having lefties on the mound late. You know, and a lot of times you're dealing with power bats, and this guy's got a funky arm angle, and I'm good with it. I'm not like, you know, so it's funny. When the news broke today, I was actually on my way to go grab some lunch because I don't do a good enough job keeping food in the house. And so I have to go out to eat. You know, I work from home. And as the news broke, I literally am like, do I turn around and do a short? Do I turn around and do a short? Do I do I turn around? And I actually was like, because I just was leaving my place, and I turned around, came up and did a short, not out of excitement as much as, we haven't had a move all week. It's the winter meetings, it's a move, and so I did it, and everyone's like, "What do you think? What do you think?" And the answer is, it's a fine lefty. Let's move on.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I remember him with the Brewers and being like that weird lefty guy out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Didn't realize he pitched like that well in 23, incredibly well, 1.82 ERA.
Well, if you did realize that, I'd almost
right.
It'd be a little odd.
The walk rate is just minuscule. Hopefully that could repeat.
All he has to do is not walk people. He gives up a ton of grounders, and he's pitching at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, I just don't think they wanted to commit to Thielbar and Pomerantz after basically both guys had career years.
Agree.
I don't think they believe it was going to happen again,
especially if those guys were asking to be paid more off those years, which they should.
Yeah, I mean, if they could get a similar or slightly similar deal than last year, yeah, maybe that would up the Cubs' interest. I almost think it's independent of that, though.
Do you
especially Thielbar, he's going to be 40.
Do you think age is just a number? Do you think that?
Yeah, but the Cubs. Well, I guess they have been signing older guys. Yeah.
Do you think right now? So right now, you correct me if I'm wrong. You know this better than I do. Cubs right now, as we speak, right now. Cubs are up 3-2 opening day, heading into the 7th. We got a lefty pocket coming in the 7th inning.
Mm-hmm.
Milner, Maton, Palencia. Is that what it is right now?
Oh, yeah. Well,
is that it? Right?
That's all they have.
So do you think they need to make 2 or 3 more impact relief additions?
I think they're going to make 1 more. But of course, they should make 2 or 3.
Well, where does Porter Hodge stand right now?
Yeah, he would be the 4th name.
Okay, so right now, our high leverage guys,
they're going to make 2 or 3 bullpen ads, but only 1 is going to be a so-called name addition.
A name. Like so you think there's 1 more name addition left?
1.
Yeah. So opening day, it's going to be. I'm just going to use the Stanek example.
I could pull up the updated roster if you want.
Stanek, Palencia, Maton, not in any order. Oh, you have it right here. Okay, wonderful. Palencia, Maton, Hodge, Milner, Brown, Wicks, Asa. Oh, and Ray. Ray's an interesting piece. Yeah, they need another big arm, Matt.
Well, this version is with Steele. I should probably remove him.
Well, I'll say this: don't put Wicks in the pen.
Yeah, that could be little.
Well, they need another. They can't go into the year with 1 reliable late inning lefty. They need 2. They saw how valuable it was with Thielbar and Pomerantz last year. Those 2 were critical to the Cubs' success, especially in October.
I know.
You have to have 2 lefties, and no disrespect to Wicks, he hasn't earned the right for any sort of trust.
Yeah, and so if Steele IL, Ray goes to the rotation, so then Little would be in there. But there's no one else. And Riley Martin was added to the 40-man. He's a lefty, a big lefty.
But you got to remember,
Wicks would start in.
They're going to sign another. They're going to sign another starter.
Yes,
so that would probably leave Ray in the pen or do a 6-man to start.
Oh, true. Good point. That's right. So. Yeah, that was one of the bigger takeaways from Craig Counsell this week. He admitted they got the bullpen was wrong. They were wrong to start the year.
Oh, right.
I don't think glad's the right word,
but they
keep screwing that up. But
they fixed it quicker this year.
It was quicker.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, the Cubs on opening day for April, their bullpen is always a problem.
It's been a problem every year since we've followed them this closely.
Yep, it's always April is always a crapshoot with the bullpen.
All right. Well, I want to ask you what you think the Cubs' preferred plan is, and maybe we could do more of this roster breakdown, and then a best and worst as well right after this.
This episode is brought to you by a FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. I mean, what week are we on? I don't even know. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting, because you're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Folks, if you're headed out to Soldier Field on Sunday, you are a brave, brave soul. The temperature is going to be around 9 degrees. Opening kickoff, wind chill -15, and your beloved Chicago Bears are -7.5. The plan for Sunday, pretty simple when you're going up against Cleveland. Do everything away from Myles Garrett, arguably the best player in the National Football League. I believe he's just 2 sacks away from the all-time record, and there's still plenty of football left to be played. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
All right, another reminder of our Locked On Cubs holiday party. As we're recording right now, that's 1 week from now.
Whoa.
A little over 1 week from now. A couple hours from now anyway, as we record. 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We had 20 listeners on last year, live or on demand. And it's going to be more this year is where it's tracking right now. So if you're interested in that, you can send an email to locsoundoff@gmail.com, locsoundoff@gmail.com, and then I can hit you back with the link and a time slot as we get closer to going live next week. So that'll be fun. Okay. As the Cubs exit the winter meeting, Sam, do you feel like you have a better sense of their preferred plan?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they want to trade for a starting pitcher. That way they have more cash available to sign Bregman.
Oh, all right. I said that. I said that on the solo show that could be an option, but I haven't gotten any idea on that. So yeah, so you're saying trade for a guy like Gore, add Bregman, and let's go.
Yep. Yeah, but I also think they've high interest in Gallen and King, and they would be fine if they signed them. But of course, they would be fine with it because they're not going to. If the Orioles are about to make a move for Cabrera, the Cubs aren't going to outbid the Orioles. They don't do that.
Full in a trade, even.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's.
Or if the Nationals ask about Matt Shaw again, would they give up Matt Shaw?
So let me transition then.
They asked about him in July.
This is a great transition into my worst of the week because it was the winter meetings and it's baseball in general. And here's what I'll say about it. Sometimes in sports or whatever, anything, like, value's great, Matt. But like, if you have money, sometimes you don't have to get the absolute best deal. You just have to get the player, right? So like, let's say the Mets wanted Pete Alonso. I don't know. I'm not a Mets fan. I don't know what's going on with them. Like, yeah, when you put everything's based on models, right? All these organizations have models and programs where they put in what the contract is, and then the model spits out good deal, bad deal, whatever, right? I think we all know that. And when you plug in 5 for 155 for Pete Alonso, it's probably a deal that's going to come back and go, well, that's not a great deal, whatever. I'm just using him as an example.
Yeah.
But if you actually want the player, right, you sometimes have to make a deal that you don't absolutely love. And Jed's proven to do that with Kyle Tucker, right? He went above and beyond with that. I think he traded about 125 cents on the dollar in terms of assets for Kyle Tucker. And I just don't think enough teams, it just seems like all these teams, not just the Cubs, by the way.
Correct.
All these teams are just looking at everything like these shrewd, strict, intense business deals and not, hey, we need to make our baseball team on the field better, right? Like, remember that whole Aaron Judge saga a couple years ago where it was like he was going to go to the Giants and then finally the Yankees paid him. And it's like, that's maybe the best deal in all baseball now in terms of free agency. I mean, what is he making a year? Is he even making 40? It's like
he is.
Yeah, and he's the best hitter on planet Earth. So it's like sometimes, and when you put that one in the model,
40 on the nose.
Yeah, when you put that one in the model, it's like, well, Aaron Judge, he's a bigger guy. We don't know how he's going to do this or this. Oh, okay, well, he might be one of the 10 best hitters that's ever lived. And it's like, it just feels like teams now are just overdoing value, right? Like, think about it like this. Let's say the Cubs had a payroll this year of $220 million. It'll be more than that, but let's say it's really bad.
But it might be like 230.
But let's just say it's 220.
Okay.
And they win 88 games. That's pretty good value for $220 million. You know what that's going to do for you? Nothing. You're probably not even going to make the playoffs, right? Like, sometimes it's not just about value. It's about just finding a way to win as many games as you can. You have to mix in value with also taking risks. And it just seems like because of the looming CBA or whatever it is, these owners are just not taking many risks right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. You really can't contend that point because the whole sport is quiet. And they've really been quiet the last couple of years. There isn't a lot of outbidding. There isn't a lot, if I really want this guy to overpay a little bit. Aaron Judge didn't even get 10 years. 9 years, 360. Wow.
Best deal in baseball.
Pretty incredible. I saw things this week again about, I do think some of this is overblown. Like, I looked it up on Baseball Reference in December. Again, besides 2023, there's been so many $100+ million deals given. 2023, and then it was that winter of 17 or 18 with the Machado and Harper. But
right.
I do think they need to put in, it wouldn't be a free agency deadline, although I'd like to know more about like why the NBA is so active. And I know you got into it a little bit the other day.
Well, they have a cap.
Well, I do wonder what a winter trade deadline would look like.
Winter trade deadlines.
Free agency, like I don't know. I don't have as strong of a conviction about it for whatever reason. So what about a winter trade deadline?
Well, for free agency, you can't tell small market owners, hey, there's no cap, so the Dodgers could spend whatever they want, but you have a deadline on when you spend it. That's just not fair. It's just contradictory. So without any sort of cap, you can't add a free agency deadline.
What about trades?
Trade deadline's a lot more interesting.
I think it could be really fun.
Like the new year.
Yeah, I was even thinking the eve of Christmas Eve, man. Do it before all the holidays, December 23.
I love that.
You want to give yourself some elbow room? Okay, fine.
The reason why the NBA and NFL are so active early is because once it opens, it's a race. There's only so much you could spend, right? Like
right.
You don't want to go over you don't want to go over the second and third apron, whatever. You got to get your guy. That's my guy. Got to get him now, or if somebody else gets onto him, we lose him, and it's done. These guys are gone.
Got it. All right.
And there's a cap, and in the NBA, there's a floor.
Right.
So you have to spend a certain amount of money.
Right.
So when you have those things in place, then you could dictate when you sign guys. That's just what I've thought of. I could be wrong. This is above my pay grade.
Right.
Speaking of, just real quick, best of the week. Speaking of, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 24-1.
No way.
Yeah, and it has nothing.
They have one loss.
It has nothing to do with.
Don't they have one of their best players out?
Jalen Williams missed. Yeah, good job by you. He missed the first 18, 19 games. They lost one game, and it has nothing. It has nothing to do with money. Nothing. All asset collecting, unbelievable drafting. The Shea trade, one of the great trades, maybe of the history of the sport. And you want to talk about a small market. Now, granted, basketball, you're on a lot more even of a playing field. But the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, as we speak, are having the greatest regular season in the history of the National Basketball Association.
Do you think they have a shot at 74 and what would that be? 74
and 8? An 8?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. I like that.
Especially
thanks for sharing that.
Especially in a league, by the way, where it's like it's way harder to win games because of the 3-point shot evens things out.
Sure.
Like this is crazy. I watched them play last night. There's nothing else on. I got home, it was 50-23. It's like watching like when Illinois plays like Southeastern Western Missouri or something. Like it's like
yeah.
These are NBA players.
Crazy, man. Wow, 1 loss in 25 games. My best of the week is the Cubs signing Hoby Milner. Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day. For those of you on video, we send you out now to the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. We'll be back Monday with the latest rumblings with the Cubs. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Yeah, I really enjoy that.